Hello everyone, welcome to this comprehensive tutorial on TestNG. So this is one of the most powerful testing framework in Java. So whether like you are beginner or looking to straighten your automation skill, this video will take you from basic to advanced concept. Okay, so please watch from start to end, and by the end of this video you will be confident using TestNG in your automation framework. Okay, so what topics we are going to cover in this video? We will cover what is TestNG, why to use TestNG over JUnit. Okay, setting up TestNG in your project, TestNG annotations and their usage. Then we'll cover TestNG assertions and reporting, grouping test and dependencies, parameterization in TestNG using DataProvider, parallel test execution, TestNG listener for advanced reporting, and we'll see some of the best practices and some real world use cases. Okay, so let's start with the first one, like what is TestNG. Okay, you may have heard about the TestNG. We use it a lot in the automation project also. So what is this TestNG actually? It is a framework inspired by JUnit and Unit. Okay, but it has lots of new features added on the top of JUnit and Unit. Okay, so it is used in different categories, like it used for unit testing, functional, end-to-end testing, integration testing. Okay, and it provides the powerful features like annotation, grouping the test, parallel execution, and detailed reporting. Okay, so why use TestNG over JUnit? Okay, so why to use a TestNG over a JUnit? Okay, so while JUnit also is a great unit test framework, but TestNG offers more advanced features for automation testing. Okay, so some of are like annotations. So we have before shoot, after test in the TestNG. We have parallel execution built-in support available. We can easily categorize the test using grouping. Okay, we can use @test group and provide the group name. Also there are annotations like depends on method. If you want to create a relationship between your test, and you can do the parameterization also using the data driven approach using the @DataProvider. Okay, so let's say how we can set up the TestNG. So first I will go to the MVN repository. So this is the public repository available, and here you can just search for the TestNG. Okay, so here you will find the TestNG dependency. So it is from org TestNG. Okay, and you will see lots of versions available here in the order, so you can sort also. And if you see here on the top, this is the latest version available of TestNG. It is in the form of jar, but using the Maven we can fetch this one from this repository. And you see like this is released on 13 Feb 2025. So next step is I want to use this latest version of TestNG in my project. So I'll click on this. So once I click on this 7.11.0, it will give me all the details about the TestNG library. Okay, so how many people are using, okay, and when it is released, home page, okay, official web page of this TestNG where you can read lots of document about TestNG, and down you have a list of build tools available. Okay, so in today's session we'll see how to use this with a Maven. Okay, using a Maven dependency tool. So we have a Maven, Gradle, SBT, Mill, LVY, Grape. Okay, lots of build tools are there. So let's select a Maven build tool, and you have to select a test. Okay, so scope is a test because we'll be using it for the assertion in your automation framework, or developer will use for unit testing. So we will select the scope as a test and then copy it. So once you copy this dependency, you can go to your framework. So I have IntelliJ IDE, and I have already created one Maven project here. So if you don't know how to create the Maven project, so I'll show you fresh. Go to file in IntelliJ IDE, new, select the project, and here you will provide the project name. So let's say TestNG project. Second is the location. Where do you want to save this project? So you can select any location or browse and select your desired folder here. Then if you want to push this code to the GitLab or remote repository, you can initialize the Git repository also. So when you select this option, it will create a .git folder inside your project. If you don't want, you can uncheck also, it is not mandatory. Next we have a build tool. So which build tool do you want to use? You can use, let me select the Maven, and then you can select the Java version. So to work on the TestNG we need a JDK also. So I'll be using here JDK 23 version. Add sample code, if you want you can check this, this is also optional, and click on the create button. So what this will do, it will create a new project. So I want to open in new window or existing, so I'll select existing. So now if you see here, the project is created, and as this is a Maven project, it has some folder structure, like it has src, under src main test folder, and we have a POM file also. So this POM file is generated because of the Maven. Now let's see how to use the dependency. So it has some inbuilt tags available like group ID, artifact ID, version, properties, and let's add new one, dependencies. And inside this you will paste your dependency which you copied from the Maven repository. Now on top right, if you see, you will get a Maven sync option. So click on that so that it will download these dependencies from this artifact ID, and it will store inside a left side in your local. If you see here, and the TestNG is downloaded. So this is the power of Maven actually. Very quickly you just copy the dependency and put it inside your pom.xml file, it will download the TestNG. Now TestNG has all the different classes, annotations. If you see here, after class, after group, lots of things are there, and all these we will be using in our automation framework. Okay, so that's it. And tomorrow if you want to upgrade your version, you can just upgrade, and right side you see the Maven icon, click here and just do the reload project, and that's it. It will download the latest version also. So now let's see how we can write our first test. So I'll go to test package in Java, create a new class, and right here first TestNG test, and hit enter. So this created a simple Java class which is public class first TestNG test. Now inside this, as you know, like if you want to run any Java program, main method is mandatory or it is a entry point. Okay, so do we need to create a main method here for TestNG? No, because TestNG is capable to run by annotation. Okay, so let me create simple method test addition. Okay, so this is very simple method, and if I right click, I don't see any option to run it because there is no main method. But now I will add annotation. So how we will add annotation? You have to add annotation on the top of method with @ and annotation name. So as soon as I type test, if you see here, the test annotation is present and it is coming from org.testng.annotations. So select this one. So this is our first test and we added the annotation. And now let's see, if I right click, we will see the option run test addition, and this is because of this annotation. Without main method, we have added annotation and we are able to see the option to run this test. Okay, let me add some details inside this one. So let's say int result equal to 2 plus 3. Okay, this is very simple code. I created one int variable result and I'm adding 2 plus 3, which is 5. But I want to validate that. I want to do the verification of that using the TestNG assertions. So first we use the annotation and now we are using the assertion. So what I can do here, I can just write assert equals, and now if I just hover on this one, I'll get the option import static method, and that's it. So from where you will import it, you have to select the TestNG, and you see this is imported from the TestNG. And inside that, if I just hover on this one or control and click here, we will see this method take a different parameter. You can compare int, you can compare short, boolean values, character, float, string, double, long. Okay, there are so many things available. You can compare using this method. Okay, so here you will put actual result, which is this one, and then what is the expected. So I am expecting 5, and if the expected is not matching, then I want to print some message, so that I will pass in a third parameter, which is optional, and I will put addition test failed. Addition test failed. Save it, and if you see, my IntelliJ is giving suggestion also. Okay, this is a last parameter is message, second is expected, and first is actually the actual one. Now let me right click and run it. So that's how like we are able to run our first test, and if you see, there is no error, and it is giving the details also. So this is given by the TestNG. So this is default suit, total test run 1, passed 1, failed 0, and skipped 0. Okay, let me put here 4 now, and now our actual result will come as a 5, and it will compare with 4, it will fail, and it will print this message now. So let me do this one. Right click, run addition, and if you see, this time it is failed, and if you see here, you will see what is expected and what is actual also. And here if you see, expected was 4, actual is 5, and that's why it is failed, and it is printing the message also, addition test failed. Okay, let me correct this typo, and it is giving the result. So click here to see the difference. So if you click here, it will show the expected and actual also. Okay, how easy it is like to write our first TestNG test case. So this is the one annotation we have used, but there are many annotations are available. So the use of this @test annotation is to make the method as a test case. So as soon as you add this annotation, this method is become a one test case. So if I write here public void means it doesn't return anything, test multiplication, and inside it let me write result equal to 2 into 5, and use the same method again, result comma 10. Okay, and you can put some message also. So let's say I don't put message this time, even we can go with these two methods as well, two parameters, result and expected. So now this is still not a test, so I still need to write a test annotation. So make sure T is capital, then only it will be considered as a test case. Now this is another test. So we have this one test, and this is another test. And if you want to run both the test cases, or if you want to run first test case, you select it, right click, and you see you are getting only addition option. You select second test case, right click, and you are getting test multiplication. And there is an option also to run separate test cases. Okay, I want to run this, click on this icon and run it, and you see test is executed. Okay, so now let's see what is the execution order of these two tests. So for demonstration purpose, I just added A, and here I added the B, and let's see if I run both the test cases, and you see the addition test and multiplication. So I'll just change the name also, log message, like test1 and test2, and let's see what happened now, tester2. So let me run the class again, and it will print test1 and test2. Let me add here B now, and here I will add A. Okay, I will add A, and now if I run it, let's see what happened. Now it is showing test2 executed first and test2 executed later. So it is executing in alphabetic order. Okay, so let me add one more test, and we'll experiment with more test cases. Okay, I'll just add here C, and here I will add capital A. Okay, now what will be the order? Okay, and I'll change the message also, test3 and test4. Save it and run this class. So now if you observe, test4 executed first, even we have A here also, okay, in test2, but how it executed test4? So it is taking the capital letter as a priority, A to Z. So even if I put here Z, okay, if I put Z and rerun this test again, the last test should execute first. You see test 4 because it has a caps character. So in ABCD it will go through the capital letter. So okay, it find for this method and it is the first priority, and then it is going to this one A, which is a 2, then 3, which is a B starting with B character, and that's how it is executing all the test. I hope this is clear. So this is a basic annotation in the TestNG. Now let's see the TestNG provide the lots of configuration option also to this test annotation. So what are the configuration option available? Let's explore all the option available. So first, let me remove all the test. I'll just keep 2 just for demo purpose. And here I'll write in bracket enabled. Okay, enabled equal to false. So what this annotation it does? So you can temporarily skip the test during the development or maintenance using this annotation. Now if I run the test case, the 2 test cases, if you see only 1 test case executed out of 2, okay, and which is a test 2 because this one we have disabled, right? If you mark it true, now it will by default it will execute. Okay, so this is the default behavior, it should run both the test, and that's what is happening here. Okay, both the tests are running. So this is all about the enable configuration. So now let's see the priority. Okay, so now what is happening? Test 2 is running first and test 1 is running second. So let me do some changes here. I'll set the priority now. So you can keep enabled also and you can have a priority also. So I'll give first priority to this one, and for this test case I'll write priority equal to 2 and run the both the test cases. And now if you see, so we can override the default behavior. So default behavior is by alphabetically, it will check the method name and it will execute, but we can override that using the priority configuration. So now we are setting the priority. Okay, run this test case first and then run the second test case. Okay, and the order is changed again. Test 1 is executed and after that test 2 is executed. Okay, so let's see, now we will see the groups. Okay, if you want to group, how to groups? So I'll write here group equal to, this is let's say smoke. Okay, and second test I'll provide comma groups, and we can pass the multiple groups also. Okay, let's say this is part of smoke comma regression. Okay, and now you can run this test using the tags also. If you want to run specific tag, that is also possible. So let's run smoke test first. Okay, so to run only the smoke tag test cases, let's say this test will have group smoke and this is also having a group smoke. So if you right click here, you will get a run configuration option. Okay, or like on the top also you will see there is a run configuration, or if you go to left side also your test, you right click and modify run configuration, and here you get an option to what kind of run you want to do, by group, by method, by suite, or by class. So I'll go to group, and now if I just click here, it will identify there are 2 groups. Let's see, I want to run smoke group, apply it. Okay, and now run it, and let's see what happened now. So there are 2 tests and both are executed. Now let's run only regression test. Okay, so let's run only regression test. So I'll go to the configuration and now change it to regression, and now this time only 1 test should run which has a regression actually. Now click on run button and you see only test 2 is executed because we are running the regression tag currently. So this is the run configuration you can do also to run specific group test cases also, or if you want to run specific classes, methods, suite, pattern, different options are there. So using group, like we have selected, okay, it will detect, and we selected I want to run this group of test cases, so we executed. Okay, and that's how the grouping works. So we can group the test cases which are part of smoke, which are part of regression. Okay, so this is the another option available. So next we will see always run. Okay, what is the always run? So if you go to these test cases, let me write one more test 3, and for this one I'll just give the different name 3. This is the test 3, and let me remove all these things so that it will be clear. And now we can have option always run true. Okay, so what does this means? Even if this test is depends on the test 2. Okay, so first I will cover the depends also. Okay, so that you will understand what is always run. So depends on group. Okay, or even if you have a depends on method also. Okay, if some test is depends on some method, let's say the test 3 is depends on test 2. So by method means depends on method means we have to provide a method name. Now if my second test fail, this won't run, third will not run, because it depends on the second test case. If second pass, then only it will execute the third also. Let me run this class and see, this time all 3 tests should pass. And now let me make second test case fail. Okay, and for that I will use fail, assert.fail, and let's see if I run now. If you see, only test 1 is executed because test 2 is failed, and because third is also not executed because it depends on the method 2. Now what is the use of always run? Always run 2. Even this, it is depend on the second test case. If it is failed, it is not running, right? Third test is not running. But if we make it always true, it will even run if the test 2 is failed. And see how it run. Now if you see test 1 run, test 2 is failed, but if we go down, still test 3 is running. Even there is a failure and it depends on the test 2. Okay, I hope this is clear. So this is the how you can mention the dependency. So there is other also, like depends on method, there is depends on group also. Okay, and you can provide the group name, let's say smoke. Okay, let's say smoke. And now if I run it, okay, so test 1 run, test 2 is having error, and test 3 is run. Okay, so there are two options. You can put a depends on group also if you want to put it, or if you want to put like depends on specific method, you can use that annotation also. Okay, so now we'll see the depends on group is done. Now we'll see the timeout. So if you want to see my test is not executed in specific time and I want to skip that, so I'll put here timeout 2000. So it is a 2 seconds. Okay, and let me run it. So third test I'm giving some timeout. So third test is executed, test 3, test 1 and test 2. Okay, so because I'm adding the annotation here. So let me remove all these annotations which we added. Okay, so this is test 1, this is test 2, test 3, and test 3 we have added the timeout. Okay, and let's see, I'll just keep the sequence also A, B and C. So these will run in sequence. Now if I run it, it is running fine. So all 3 will run, 1, 2, 3. Now there is a timeout. Okay, so I'll explicitly mark this test to wait for more time using the thread.sleep, and inside this I will give 3000. So it will wait for 3 seconds, and timeout we have given the 2 seconds. Now what should happen? My test will get timed out. So if I run now, you see 2 tests are executed and third is giving the error because it timed out. It didn't finish it within the mention the time. Okay, so that's why this test is failed. Now the invocation count, we will see the invocation count. Let me remove this also. So what is invocation count? So if you want to invoke the first method, first test multiple time in iteration, so you can provide inside this one invocation count. Okay, let's say 5. So first test will run 5 times. And now you see the test 1 is executed 5 times. Okay, let me run the complete class so we'll understand. So you see test1 is executed 5 times, test2 1 and test3 only once. So this is the use of invocation count. So this method without using the for each loop or for loop, it is iterating the number of times what we want. Okay. So next we will see the success percentage. Okay. Success percentage, and let's see what is it. Okay, so what we will do, we have invocation count 5 and along with this we can use success percentage equal to 80. So, and let's say I'm running it 10 times. Okay, invocation count 10 means it will iterate 10 times and the success percentage is 80%. So what will happen? So this test will pass if at least like 8 iterations are succeeded. Okay, at least 8 iterations should succeed. So it is 80%, then only it will pass. So if let's say if 5 iteration pass, 5 iteration failed, it will mark as a fail because it will not meet the criteria, which is a success criteria, right? So that's why the at least 8 iterations should get passed, 80% should, this test should get passed, then only this will go to the mark as a pass, otherwise it will mark as a failed. Okay, so this is used in a scenario, let's say you want to handle test within the intermittent failure and you want to give some chance, like okay, I want to run give retry 2 times, 3 times, 5 times. Okay, you can provide that. So next we will see expected exception. Okay, expected exceptions, and here you can provide the whatever the exception you want to provide. Let's say arithmetic exception dot class. Okay, so in this one, even there is an exception, let's say we will introduce this exception using int I equal to 10 divided by 0. Okay, we cannot divide by 0, but we are doing it. And now what will happen? All the 3 tests are passed. Okay, all the 3 tests are executed. Why? Because we have added expected exception. Okay, and now if I remove this one, we'll see the error. Okay, test is failed, but we are expecting this arithmetic exception, and that's why it is passed earlier. So if I run now again, you will not see any failure. So the test addition, multiplication, and this also executed, but here we don't have any log, right? So let me add a log also so that it will be clear to you. Okay, so this is the test 1. Run it again, and okay, so it is not printing here, but it executed. The reason is it thrown exception here, but it will not mark as a pass. But if you put it before the exception, okay, before the exception, and let's see what happened now. Cut this one, paste it here, and run it one more time. So now all three tests are executed, and you will see the log also. Because why it is printing now? Because it printed and after that it thrown exception, arithmetic exception, and but because of this configuration, it is not failed. It is not marked as a failed. Okay, so next we will see the description. Description equal to validate with valid credit card. Some description I'm providing. Okay, so this will get printed in the report also. So what this does, it tell more about the test. Okay, so it improves the report readability, and that's the use of the description. You can pass the description to the scenario. Okay, so next we will see the another annotation configuration, which is single threaded true or false. So what will happen here? In this case, if it is true, all the test method, so whatever the method having the @test annotation, all will run in a sequential, sequence. Okay, so this is the use of for sequential execution. Okay, so next we will cover the different annotations available in TestNG, like before shoot, after shoot, before test, after test, before group, after group, before class, after class, before method, after method. Okay, so to demonstrate it, I'll be creating one testng.xml file. So you'll think like why we are creating this file. So this file will centralize all your configuration related to which suite you want to run, how to control your test case execution, okay, which group of test cases you want to run. So all the configuration will come to this place. And okay, so let's start creating the testng.xml file. Okay, so the first tag is suite, and suite will have a name. Suite will have a name. So let me write name here for the suite, and you see there will be ending tag also. For a suite, this is starting tag, this is ending tag. Okay, and inside the suite will have a test tag, and test also will have a name. So inside regression I have login related test. I can name it anything. So for now I'll give just name login, and inside that we will put a classes. Okay, so inside classes we'll be putting actual Java class here. So for that, if I type something here test1, okay, it is giving red color because this class Java class is not present. So let me go and create some of the Java classes. So to demonstrate it, I'll create test1 test demo 1. Okay, and I'm creating inside package, right? And test demo 2. Okay, so 2 Java classes I have written, so those I can refer here, but these classes are available under com RoboticQA .annotations .testdemo1, and similarly other class also I can add it here. So if I paste it here, so this is my demo 2. Okay, and when I right click on this testng file, I can run this as a testng. Okay, now if I run, okay, there is 0, there is no test available inside this suite. Okay, so let me give this as a suite name only, or regression suite. Now let me add some test here, sample test. So we have learned the basic annotation, which is a test. Okay, and inside this one I will write public void test1, and inside this one just log something like this is my test1. Okay, and similarly let me create one more test in this class. This is my test2. Okay, this is my test2, and let me put here addition test2. Okay, now I'll create one more test in another class, test3. Okay, test3, and here also I'll write a test3. So now if I run now this testng file, all my 3 tests will run. Okay, test1, test2, test3. So it is picking the test from this class also, this also, and this class also. Okay, so it is reading the test from all the 3 classes. Okay, now let's say I'll just change the name to test1 lowercase, and let me run it. Okay, let me run it, and now see the order is changed: test2, test1, and test3. Why test2 is run first? The reason is, so if I go to this one, test2, because it is starting with the alphabet A. Okay, so A will have a priority over T. Or if I go here on this also, so it is running the this one. Okay, alphabetic order. So I hope this is clear now. So let me change it again, test2, test1, and let's start learning the different annotations and how they behave actually. So test1, 2, 3. So we will start with the first one. Okay, we will start with the first one, which is a before suite. Okay, we'll start with the first one, before suite. So in one file I'll add annotation, or let me create one method, public void before or pre-configuration. Okay, let's say I want to configure, so this is before suite, give some message here, before suite URL setup. Oh, okay, so in real time you will be doing some URL setup once, and then I want to run all the test cases. So I'll write here annotation before suit. So before suit will execute before all your test cases. Okay, before all your test cases. So let me bring that page, and if I go here before suit, the annotation method will run before all test in this suit. Okay, in this suit I have a 3 test cases and 2 classes. So before all these 3 test cases it should run. So now if I go to TestNG, right click and run. Okay, so before these 3 test cases my before suit is executed. Okay, even I am not adding that inside a second one. Okay, in test demo 2 class I don't have before suit, but it is controlled from here. This is my one test section. Under that I have a 2 classes added. So in test demo 1 I have 2 test cases, test demo 2 I have 1 test case, total 3 tests are there, and before all these 3 tests it is running the before suit. Let's see what I want to do something on after suit. So you can copy this thing, you can put it anywhere, but based on the annotation it will execute. So tear down, let's say it is after suit, and I want to close browser. Okay, so once all the tests are executed I want to close the browser. So I'll give the name after suit. So this annotation will run after all the test cases are executed. The annotation method will run after all the test in the suit have run. Okay, and let me run it again, and if I run here you will see the before suit is executed, then all the 3 tests, and then after suit is executed. Okay, I hope this is clear how the before suit and after suit work. Okay, so next we have a before test. Okay, next we have a before test. So if I show here, so before test annotation, this will run before any test method belonging to class inside the test attack. So let me show you how it works. So once we see the practically you will understand it. Public void pre-test, some name I'll give, and I'll give here before test. Okay, and put some log here before test. So how many times it will run? It will run only one time. It will run only one time. So let's see now. And if we see here, before test executed only once. Okay, because the before test get executed before this TestNG test tag. Okay, the login which has a login name, right? So before this test tag it will get executed. Okay, so let's say if I have 2 things here, login and logout, and let me move the test2 to another one. Okay, so you will think, okay, before suit also run before, but what is the use of this one then? Okay, so this test before test will run now 2 times because there are 2 tags here, test sections. So before logout also and before login also it will run, but before suit will run only once. And let's see how it behave. And now if you see before suit executed here, then before test, and it is running after suit. So why it is running only once? Okay, it should run before every test, 2 times it should run, right? But it is showing here 1 times only. Okay, because now what we will do, we will add something like base test. Okay, base test, and generally we should add all these annotations which are not part of test inside a separate class. Okay, inside a separate class. And now my this test demo 1 will extend base test, and similarly this also will extend base test. Okay, only I have done one change, and let me rerun it and see the magic. And now you see the before test is running now perfectly as expected. So in TestNG I have this class, okay, this test block. Before this it is running before test, and I have another test block. Before logout also it is running before test. Okay, inside this we have again two tests, but this test tag is different and the tests are different. These are actual test. Okay, these are actual two tests. This is just a test tag. Under this test tag we can have multiple classes. Okay, so that's how the before test run. Similarly, we can have a after test also. @after test, public void clear cookies. Okay, so this is just a scenario. After you run each test block, I want to clear cookies. Okay, and in that case you can use this one. And now if I run, you will see before suit executed, before test, because this is the test block. Before this it is running. Inside that I have two test cases, so those executed, and then after test. Again it is coming to logout. Logout also having before test and after test. So before it also and before it. But what if inside this also, inside test one, two tests are there. I want to run something before each test case, not a tester tag. Okay, and for that we have another annotation, before method and before method. Okay, before method. Now this will not run before test tag of TestNG. It will run before each test case. Before each test case. Okay, before test. Okay, and I'll put some before method, public, and it should be wide, and that's it. And now if I run here, now if you see, it will run before each test case. So you see, before test 1 also it is executed, before test 2 also, and before test 3 also. Okay, so that's how it is different from before test and after test. Before test run based on the TestNG XML tag, tester tag. Okay, but before method will run based on the test cases, actual test case, before this also, before this also. And if you want to run something after this test also, we have similar annotation, which is after method. Okay, so public void after sysout, and I'll put after method here. And now this should run after each test. Okay, and you see, after 1 also after method executed, after test 2 also after method is executed, and after test 3 also after method is executed. Okay, now the group is there, group. Okay, before group is also there. So what will happen? Let me write here, public void before group test. Okay, and let me put some system.out.println before group. And as you know, we have a similar after group also. Okay, where we copied. Okay, this is before group, and let me write here after group also, sorry, after group also, after group, and put the annotation @before group, and then I'll put here @after group. Okay, so if I run the test, okay, there will be no changes. Okay, because this annotation will not run like this one. You see, you will not see anything related to before group and after group here. So we have to do some modification. Okay, so what you need to do, let's go to test demo 1. Before this test, I want to run something specific test, and let's say this test is having some group name. Okay, let's say smoke, or let's give some product as a tag, product as a tag. And now before this group, I want to run something. In that case, we can use this one. So here we have to mention group. Okay, we have to use the group also. And similarly, let me add here also. Here I'll add apple, and let's see. I'll go to demo 2. Here I'll give a apple. Okay, apple in lowercase, and let's run it, and then I'll explain what happened now. So I have added before group. Okay, before group annotation. So before group, whatever the test case you have, if there is a group product, then run this one before that test case. Okay, so if I go here, before group is executed before test 2. Okay, because if I go to test 2, I have test 2 is having the group product, and after test 2 we don't see the group executed. After group also we have, right? So why it is not executed? Because here it will run only after group apple. So in test 2 I have group apple, which is a test 3. After test 3 my another annotation will get executed. You see, after test 3, after group is executed. Okay, because it will detect, okay, when I want to execute this block of code. So this block of code will get executed before it will go to the test cases. It will check which test cases are part of product, and before that it will execute. After group this one, it will go to your all the test cases. It will check which tests are part of group apple, and after that it will execute this block of code. So this is the use of the before and after. Now we will move to the before class. Okay, before. So public void before class test. Okay, sys out, and this is my before class. And similarly we'll create one more for after class also. After class. Okay, and provide the annotation. Before class, and here I will provide after class, and let me run it. So what will happen? This before class annotation, the annotation method will run before the first test in the current class. Okay, first test in the current class. So let me explain you. If I go here and run it and just check, so before class is executed. So before first test of this class. Okay, so if I go to demo 1, in this one I have 2 tests. So first test is this one. So before test 1 it should execute. If I go to demo 2, here only one test is there. So before the test 3, so 2 times. So here if you see before class, and then before test 3 it executed this. Okay, it executed this one, and similarly it will do for after also. If I go to test 2, because this is the last test of this class, and then it will run after class, and similarly after test 3 also it executed after class. So this annotation will run before all the test case inside a one class. So I hope you understand like how these different annotation work, what is the difference between it. So if you still have some question, okay, or if you want to know the comparison between two annotation and what will be the real use case, so you can comment out. I'll be able to happy to explain what is the difference between these annotation. Now we learn all the basic annotations in TestNG. Now let's move to next topic about the reporting and how to run these tests using the Maven and Maven command. So I have TestNG.xml already created, which we use to learn annotations. Let me go to POM file, and we need to add one more Surefire plugin to run this test using the Maven. So anyway, like I have JDK installed, I have Maven installed in my system, and on the top of it I will add this build tag and this Surefire plugin. You see, this is a Maven Surefire plugin, and here you can configure your XML suite. Okay, so my TestNG XML file is available in root directory, so I'm just giving the name and it will pick from the root directory. Just save it, go to Maven right side, reload it so that it will download the plugin. Okay, and that's it. So plugin installation is done. Now verify if you have JDK available, java hyphen version, it is there, mvn hyphen version, and I have Maven also, JDK 23 and Maven 3911. So in Maven we can just write Maven clean and test to run our test cases. So if I click on run, you see 3 test run, 0 failure, 0 error. And what this will do now, this will generate a report also in a target folder. So if you go to target, you should see the test output folder in root directory. If it is not there, go to test target Surefire, because we are using Surefire plugin, and inside this you will see the TestNG report is generated. Okay, and look for the index.html file. Now I can go and open in some browser. Okay, open in some browser, and you see the report is open here, and you see it has XML file structure. We have 2 test class, login, logout. We have 2 groups, Apple and product. It will show the time also, how much time each test is taking. Report output, if you are passing some custom log from the code your test, it will show here. Ignored methods, and you will see the chronicle view also, okay, of your test, and down you will see the result. All the 3 tests are passed. Okay, 1 test is part of this test demo 2 and 2 tests are part of this test demo 1. Okay, I hope this is clear now. So let's see, if you want to run some commands using the Maven. I want to run some different group from Maven command. So mvn test, and you will pass -d. These -d means you are passing as a parameter through Maven, and what I want to pass, group. So I remember, like, we created Apple group. So let me write Apple here in double quote, hit enter, and this should run only Apple related test case. You see only 1 test is executed. And now if I go to report, okay, if I go to report and refresh it, it should display me the only 1 test is there. So if I go here, open in browser, so it is again generated report, and this time if you see only 1 test is executed, which is related to Apple group. Okay, which is related to Apple group, and here also see Apple group. Okay, so you can pass -d groups and the whatever the group test cases you want to execute. Okay, what else? If you have like multiple groups, you can give a comma also. And I remember, like, we have product group, so comma product, and hit enter. It will run both the groups now, and you see now 2 tests are executed. One is from product, one is from Apple group. Okay, so those tests we already created, right? So we have seen earlier. So if I go here, this is product group test case, and this is Apple group test case. So these are executed, and that's why we are able to see 2 are there. Okay, so if you want to exclude, you want to run all the tests but exclude specific group test cases. Let's say I want to exclude Apple test case, group test cases. So for that you will use -d excluded, and now what will happen, it will exclude the Apple group test case and it will run all the others. Okay, these 2 will get executed. Okay, these 2 will get executed, and if you go and open the report also, you will see it clearly. It excluded that test case. So if I go here and let me check the report groups also, you see Apple related test case is not there. Okay, so only 2 are executed which are not having part of Apple group. Okay, so that's how, like, we can use the different options to run the test from the command line. Now you are good in running the test from the command line also using the Maven. Now let's talk about the Maven TestNG report. Okay, so when you run your test from the Maven mvn clean test, so it is triggering the testng.xml file and it is running the test. Okay, so 3 tests are run. So what we are doing, we are hitting Maven command mvn clean test. This Maven will run this POM file. Inside POM we have Surefire plugin, and under Surefire we are giving the testng.xml file path. So it will pick this file, and whatever the configuration is done, based on that it is running the test. So once the execution is done, it generates the report also. So most of the time it is either in test output folder, you can see, or go to target, surefire report, and here we have the TestNG report. So you can go to this one and open this report in any one of the browser, let's say Chrome. Okay, so this is my report. So this report contains different things. Okay, your TestNG.xml file, how many tests are there, how many groups, timestamp, report output. Okay, all these things are there. So if you want to add your custom message using these reports, so we will use this reporter.log. Okay, so let me add it for another test one also. You will add reporter.log, pass the message like this is test 1, and to show in the report we have to pass true, actually second parameter, log to standard output, so that you will see that inside your report folder, report HTML report. Okay, and let's see if I run this one again, and let's see if it is generating. Go to report, refresh it, and reporter output, you see this is test 1, this is test 2, log is coming. But what if I want to add a screenshot in the report? So how we can do that one? So for that one, first I need to go to POM and add the Selenium dependency. Okay, Selenium dependency here. So you can add it from go to Maven Central and download the dependency, like same we have done it for TestNG. So add it here, reload your project, or right side you will get sync all Maven projects. So it will download all the jars required, and then I want to take a screenshot in test 1. So for that I will write some Selenium code to launch Google website. Write driver.get, and inside this https://google.com. okay, and then I want to take a screenshot, and at the end I will close the browser. Okay, to take a screenshot I will create one string, give the name screenshot equal to, and to take a screenshot we have a text screenshot method available, not a method, it's a class. Text screenshot, cast with driver, get screenshot as, and right here output type base64. Let's go with base64, which will work perfect in the most of the system. And once we get a screenshot, I want to add it inside again reporter.log. okay, I want to add in a reporter.log. so you can use the br tag and all inside this one. So let's it, we are good, and this should add a screenshot also. Now let me run mvn clean test. It launched the browser, navigate it to Google and close also. And let's see if I refresh, go to report output, and you see the screenshot is also added to the report. Okay, so that's how we can add the screenshot, add the log also, whatever the logs you need for your test. Okay, now let's see parameterization using @DataProvider annotation. So for that I'll create new package. Okay, so new package with name product demo. So let's say the scenario is I want to log into one website and I want to use different credentials for this one. I want to test login functionality with 100 users. Okay, how we can do that one? So for that let's create first test. So I'll create here login test. Okay, and inside that I'll create a method login to app. Okay, make it public wide, and provide the annotation @test, so that this will be considered as a one test case, and you have to import this test annotation. So inside this I will write some log currently to print username and password. Okay, I'll put here username and password. So now from where this will come, right? From data provider. So I'll be creating data provider also soon. Okay, let me create a data provider. So right here public, sorry, so right here public void. Okay, so this will be not a void because it will be providing data. So we'll write object two-dimensional array. We don't know what kind of data will come, and the name of this is method is data provide data, and inside that we will put our data. So you can write any logic here. Okay, you can write any logic here how you want the data. So you can, for now I'll use the static data. Okay, static data. I'll create object new object two-dimensional array, and inside that I will pass two datas. Okay, 2% data. Okay, and this I want to return also. Okay, so because this method is not void, right? So it will return data. So inside this let's put data like user1 comma pass 1, then user2 comma pass 2. Okay, you can add n number of data and here it will close. Okay, that's it. Okay, so I can replicate also. Just copy it and paste how many times you want it, and change user 1 2 3 4 and 5. Similarly password also 1 2 3 4 and 5, and just separate it by comma. Okay, now let's give a name to your data provider. So you will use the annotation data provider in bracket name equal to data provider something. Okay, and by this name I can call this here. Okay, here. So how to provide it? So now here I'll pass data provider in lowercase and the name of data provider. So there is difference. So here it is annotation D capital @ data provider. Here it is configuration data provider and the name. So this data provider will provide me two arguments. First is username, second is password. So I'll write here string username comma string password, and that's it. And now if I run this test case, it should run 5 times because it has a 5 data. So this data provider will pass data to this method by this name, and as we have two string parameter here also we are accepting two parameters, and that's how we are getting a data. Now if I run this test case, you see it run 5 times, and first time it took user1 password 1, user2 password 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so that's how like you can use the data provider annotation in TestNG to test the login functionality with the different users. So you can change this block. You can write here code to get the data from Excel sheet, CSV or even database. Okay, next we will cover the what are the TestNG listeners. Okay, these are the hooks which control your test execution. So based on your test is pass or fail, let's say if my test is failed, I want to take a screenshot. So what we can do it, how to take that screenshot, right? Event base. So I'll create a new class like custom listener, and this custom listener will implement iTest listener. Okay, iTest listener, and this is interface, right? So this provide lots of methods. So you can, if it is not showing option to implement, right click, generate and select implement methods. So these are the methods are there. Okay, let me select on start, or I'll select all methods. Okay, and click on OK, and it see all the methods are overridden. Now what you can do, you can go to on test success or on test failed, and here you will write a code to take a screenshot. So for now I'll just put here sysout and take screenshot. Okay, you can replace this with your actual logic. And now will this work because this is standalone class? No, right? You need to go to your testng.xml file, and here you need to add a listener tag also. So on the top I will add listeners. Okay, inside that I will add listener and the class name. Okay, so listener class name. So com dot RoboticQA dot listeners dot custom listener. This is what you have to add, and now whenever there is a test failure, it will run the all these events. And you see, on test failure I have added some log here, so it will run it. And on test start also I want to add, so I'll write here test execution started, so it is event based. And now I'll make some test fail also, so that we will see the output. So let me write here fail. Okay, and that's it. Let me import the fail also from TestNG, and that's it. So if I go to my TestNG file, right click, run, and you will see one test is failed, and event base you will see the output also. Okay, so whenever there is failure, you see it is taking the screenshot. Okay, it is taking the screenshot. And test execution started also, you will see it here. Okay, so test execution started is printed. Okay, and whenever there is a failure, it will take a screenshot also. Okay, so that's how you can work with the listener. So if you want to know more about the listener, so I'll create another video, because there are different classes available inside the listener. So if you see iTest listener, iTest result, iTest context, but this is very basic things, what is the listener and how to use listener in your code. So let's say how to run test parallel in using the TestNG. So TestNG provide different parallel execution option with the thread also, like we can pass thread count as well. So what we will do for this one, like I just created two files here. File 1, this contain 2 tests, okay, and file 2, this contain 2 test cases, and I want to run these 2 tests in parallel. Okay, so I created another TestNG XML file. Okay, another TestNG XML file, and here if you see, like I'm pointing this to the file 1 and file 2. Okay, there are 2 test block. Inside that I'm pointing to each file. Okay, and now what I will do, now on the top here to this suite we will add a different options, okay, to run this test parallel. And how we'll get to know, because in this file if you see I'm printing the log also, current time also, and thread ID also. So we'll get to know our tests are running parallelly or not. So here we will write the parallel equal to, there are different options. So let's start with method. Okay, and then we'll put a thread count as a, let's say 10. Okay, so what this parallel method equal to method does is it run test methods in parallel. Okay, it run test methods in parallel. So let me run it. So we have 2 tests in the file 1 and 2 tests in the second file, and let's see what happened now. So if you see here, file 1 and file 2. So from file 1 and 2 executed, file 2 3 and 4 is executed. Okay, and now here if you see these are running parallelly. Okay, so file 1, so whatever tests are there inside this test, all will run parallel up to the thread count, because it is 10, and from this also it will run parallel. So it will start executing, let's say in test this file 1 I have 10 tests, 10 will run in parallel. Once this is finished, it will move to the next one, and here also it will run parallel, and that's how you will see it here also. You see 32 second. So it is running all the tests parallelly, but not together, like from test 1 and test 2 it will not run parallel, only from this block it will run first, and then it is going to the next block. Okay, so we have different options here. Let's try with the test. Okay, what test will do? Run test tag in parallel. So now these 2 tags are there, test tag in XML. So these 2 will run in parallel now. Okay, now if you see here, as soon as I change it to test, so this test tag will run parallel. Now if you see the file 1 and 2 running in parallel, 47 means these both are running together. Okay, from this one it picked first file, from this one it picked first test case, and those are running parallelly, 28 29. So again 28 29 it is running another test case. Okay, so Now it is running test tags itself in parallel. Next we have classes. Okay, so what classes will do? Classes will run classes in parallel. Okay, it will run classes in parallel. So now if I run it, and you see here, so file 1 it executed, file 2 it is executed, so these classes will run parallel. Okay, so first it executed this class, and then inside this because here we have only one class, right? So if you have multiple classes here, so it will run this in a parallel. Okay, let me try it out. Just copy it, paste it here. Now two classes are there, two classes should run in parallel. So let me comment out this one. Okay, and now if I run it, and these two should run in parallel. So you see test1 2, okay, 99. So both file it picked parallelly, and then 1010. Okay, so this is the use of if you want to run classes in parallel. So we have default none. Okay, default is none actually, so means it will run in sequential mode. And finally we will have a instances option also. Instances means run test instances parallelly. Okay, run test instances parallelly. And now if you see file 1, file 2, and these two are running parallelly, and these two are running in parallelly. Okay, so that's how like you can control your test, how to run it parallelly. But in Selenium, even if you run it parallelly, you need to handle the driver instance properly. Okay, you need to make it thread local as a WebDriver. Okay, so that's different concept. So we need to create another video to understand like how you will do the parallel testing in the Selenium or any other tool. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learn lots of things in TestNG framework. So just comment out if you want more videos on different topics. I'll create another video. Thank you.